I welcome first-timers. How many first-timers today? Oh, a bunch of you. Well, please do not judge this church by today. Great church, great people, great pastor. I'm from New York. I come here like once a year because that's really all they can deal with me is once a year. And so anyways, that's how this goes. Pastor, thanks for letting me come back. He was just here with us in New York last week, as he had mentioned, doing our big anniversary, kind of a big deal. 50 years in the ministry. They made me a plaque that said, "Congratulations, Pastor Bill, for being in the ministry and working with Christians for 50 years without killing one." Which, when you think about it, that really is quite an accomplishment. So for those of you that are in that category, don't do anything stupid today. All right? I drove the bus yesterday in Brooklyn. Almost got in another fight yesterday. So I'm a little edgy, so be nice to me at the back, because it's not going to take much today. All right? So anyways, you don't live where I live. I've seen 23 people murdered. I've been shot twice. Had a little lady pull her son's hand out of a paper bag in Syria a year ago and asked me if I could help her son, and I couldn't. Assad was running barrel bomb runs about 20 clicks over the ridge from our camp, and a piece of shrapnel cut his hand off. She just took his hand and kept it and asked me if I could help him. So I'm not here to entertain you today. It's a fine line, folks. Fine line here. Okay? So I have about 35, 40 minutes to try to explain 50 years and make sense out of it. You know I can't be done. I know it too. But we're going to give it a shot. Okay? We're going to do our best. So over these 50 years, I picked up a few things, a few little things that you learn, principles, things that I feel like have helped people. I think it'll help you if you can pick up on it today. I'll be doing 2 different messages simply because there's so much that happens in between the times I visit you guys. A year for me, it's like dog years. Okay, it's just a year for me is like 5 years for the normal person. So we're going to try to put some of that together. I got a couple of things out there on the table. I'm going to talk to you about them real quick. Thank you, ma'am. All right. I don't usually spend a lot of time talking about the product, but it just saves everybody a bunch of time at the back. And we've got a couple of rookies at the table today, so I don't want you to hassle them too much. You'll see some of these bracelets. Some of you were asking me about them earlier. These are made by a couple of our ladies that live in the garbage dump in the Philippines. They get paper from the dump, wet it, weave it. It's kind of a neat little thing. It helps them and their families. That's why we get them to do it. It's whatever you want to give. It's not a set price on it. So we got a couple of those back there. The DVD is a new one. This is the 3rd installation. And it just seems loud to me, guys. Can you turn it down just a hair? It's not loud? It's just loud to me. Okay. You know what? Then I'm just going to mind my own business up here. Okay. You guys know what to do. Just do what you do. All right. Well, come on. These are R-rated tapes, just so you guys know. This is the 3rd one in a series that a video company has put together. And so these are not for children, but it shows my other life. The proverbial 2 lives, like this one, my little cute suit life, my churchy life, my PhD life, and then there's this life. 2 really different lives that I go in and out of, all right? So we got some of those back there. The books, of course, all of you have read the book, Whose Child Is This? I'm sure, yes? Who's not read this book? Ugh. After all the years I've been, what is wrong with you? You have not read, here. Well, that makes 2 of us. Okay. You want me to help you back to your seat? Okay. Well, there you go. All right, Merry Christmas. All right? You're welcome. You're welcome. The other books, if I make sense in these messages today, That's what the rest of these books are. They're from me being at a conference on television, something, place like this. They're messages, principles. Anybody else want a book? Yep, good. You can buy them right out there. Right out there at the table. Come on, Jesus. Come on. All right? I'll be out there if you want me to sign the book. Somebody did that a couple of weeks ago, and then they sold it for twice as much on eBay. They had me sign that, knuckleheads. They had me sold it. Everybody's making money off me. You have no idea. And last thing, most of you guys know about this. You know about the sponsorship program. Over the years, many of you guys have sponsored some of our kids. Thank you. If you're one of those sponsors, I appreciate it. It means more. It does more. Most of you know, like World Vision, Compassion, they don't do the ministry. And I don't normally talk like this with people I don't know, but I know you guys. So you, and somebody already asked me a question about this. They're the middlemen. They raise the money, then they pay other people to do the ministry. This is what we do. This is our whole ministry. So when you go back there and you see the pictures, these aren't National Geographic standard stock pictures. These are the kids that we have committed our lives to. All right? So it's $28 a month. You can be as involved in the life of the child as you choose to be. And if you're wondering, does that really do what it's supposed to do? Because as Americans, I spend a lot of time overseas, so international people don't quite get this. But when you live in this country and you see everything on TV like we do, you kind of go, you know, it's like you kind of give it the dog look. You know, when you're talking to your dog and your dog goes, okay, that would be the dog look. And you look at stuff and you go, is that? So, Tyler, give me that first picture, if you will. I think this kind of tells that. That little girl's name's Cherry Ann. She lives in the North Cemetery. That's her mom. You got about 1,000 squatters that live in the cemetery. Some of you need to go with me. I go every March. I bothered you. I'm getting tired of asking you. You need to go, okay? You need to go, all right? Because I've been pestering you to go. And for some of the rest of you, y'all need to go. It's a week, first week in March. I take 50 people every year just to walk with me, go and see this. Because one thing to see the picture, that's another thing to walk it, all right? And so I had a gal 2 years ago from Singapore. I preached at her church. She sponsored Cherry Ann. So last year, she goes, Pastor Bill, I want to go. Let's go. So we just got done doing Sunday school in the cemetery. And I see a bunch of the ladies. Hank, give me another shot, Tyler. Get another. So I see them all looking at something. So I walk over there and I'm thinking, okay, now what? And this little girl was born without an anus. Give me another shot, Ty. So what they've done, they cut a hole here in her side. And once a week, she has to go to the clinic. They stick a tube in there, drain her, and then just stick a bandage on. So this thing is infected constantly. She lives in the cemetery. So the sponsor, we're all looking at Cherry Ann, and the sponsor goes, Pastor Bill, we have to do something. And I'm going to sit there for just a minute. Because what you just heard right there, what you're looking at, this is the result, guys, of what urgency does all by itself. You don't have to preach about it. You don't have to talk about it. You don't have to go to a conference. You get close enough to the urgency, and the urgency demands something from you. Remember, Thomas never understood the resurrection? Never made sense? Too abstract? Until when? Until he touched the wounds in the body of Christ. You touch it, I'm going to tell you something, guys. Everything changes. No, give me another shot, Ty. So we got her to Singapore. I mean, this sponsor was on it. We found a Christian surgeon. He said, I'll do the operation for free. Christian anesthesiologist, free. Yeah, come on. Come on. You guys up in the cheap seats, you can clap too, okay? This is good for you, all right? So we got everybody working together, a couple of Christian nurses. Thank God for Christian people working together. What a novel idea. Let's get a bunch of Christians that can actually get along and come together for a common cause. So we get her to Singapore, get her in the hospital. They're doing the scans. I've done this 50 years, and I'm smart enough to know that when you think everything's going well, you know something's going to get wacky. Well, give me another one, Ty. So she's got a bunch of worms in her lungs. Lives in the cemetery. So these worms have grown. So now, give me the next one, Ty. That's a little bit too much for Florida folks. So it takes us 3 weeks to kill the worms, get them out. And now, this is the guy. This is the surgeon. What a great guy. What a great, great guy. Super guy. So it's time for the operation. We got her ready. Give me another one, Ty. He had to take a big chunk of her intestines out because they've been dormant for years, not even been functioning in her. So he's going to have to totally operate on her whole lower GI tract. Everything's got to change. Give me another one, Ty. They've got her in the recovery room. That's her mom. I had people all over the world praying. You guys, many of you are part of our prayer network. You get my emails, so we keep you up on it. We had 100,000 people praying for this little girl. And get another one, Ty? Yeah. So she came through it. It was a 10-hour operation. Tough one for a little girl. But she got through it. We got one last one. I think it's her. We got her back on the plane and got her back to the Philippines. I'm just showing this to you guys so you know that when you see, that's what this is. It's as simple as I can make it. I could tell you that story, but you got to see it. So you just saw it. So you got a little girl that has no insurance, lives in a cemetery, but now she has a shot at a normal life. So that's how it works, guys. That's what this is. March. Write it down. Okay, March. Any of you that are interested in running with me on some of these trips, obviously, I was in Afghanistan a couple of months ago. I don't take normal Americans to Afghanistan because that becomes, then, there's places I take people, there's places I don't take people. So I'm waiting on the call now to go to Yemen and the Gaza Strip. Those will be the next two that are on the list. So anyways, I'll be out there in between services. Most guest speakers don't hang around because they don't want you to see what they're really like. This is what I'm really like. It doesn't get any better. If you're waiting for this to get better, I'm kind of peaking right now. I mean, this is kind of it. So I don't want you to feel like, man, this is going to get better. No, not really. That's kind of it. All right. Get your Bibles out quick. We want to stay on schedule because we're good. I know how it goes with 2 services and somebody can't find a place to park, and then we're going to have a fight in the parking lot. So I want to try to keep it straight. Good stuff. Pastor, thank you again, as always. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. Thanks for believing in what we do. In interest of time, I'm not going to read a lot of text, but I would encourage you to look at the 28th chapter of Isaiah. Isaiah 28. If you don't have a Bible, just slip over next to a Christian. They'll have one. And you can look on with them. Mm-hmm. It used to be in the old days, people brought a Bible. Now everybody reads it on their phone or iPad or something. And that irritates me a little bit, so I'm not going to say anything. But however you read it and whatever bogus translation you have, if it's not King James, it ain't right. Isaiah 28. Interesting that Isaiah, which was written about 700-800 years before the birth of Christ, one of the major prophet books. He's getting people prepared for what lies ahead. Now that I'm 70, and I've waited all my life to become 70. It used to be when I was younger, you want to say the right things, you want to try to do the right things, but then when you get 70, you don't care because you don't have to care. Come on, Jesus. So it's just kind of a nice thing when you find a truth, when you discover something that can really help people, even though it may poke them a little bit. It's part of the process. That's what we're here to do today. My life now is preparing people, preparing folks for the rest of their life and for what they can accomplish. Because I think people, most of you come from the north, right? And you all moved down here because you got sick of the weather. So now you're down here wearing your Bermuda shorts playing shuffleboard. All right? Now, I don't know. There's probably something I could say there, but I'm just going to let that one ride. So when you come to that place in your life and you think, I've lived it, I've done it. No, folks. No, there is no retirement for me. And I think it's important that you know this because I am your missionary. I think I'm a pretty good representation of this church. I think I would make you guys proud on the field. I think you come ride the bus that I drive every week in New York. You ride with it. You see, he was there last week. He saw it. So I can say this because I feel connected to this church in a very different way. I go to a church every Sunday. I drive the bus Saturday, go somewhere Sunday. That's what keeps the wheels turning. So I'm in a different place every Sunday. I'm like the church whisperer. And when I show up on Sunday, I can tell you within 5 minutes if I'm ever going back there or if I'm not. Because sometimes you walk into a place and it's like, exactly. Yeah. And you know that dog ain't going to hunt. And I ain't going back there. But this is why I like being here. I like you guys. I like him. I just like this place. And at 70, you really don't like many people anymore. You just don't, because you just know people too well. You've heard all the stories. You've watched all the baloney that's come down the line over all these years. So when people talk to me, what's that old song? Everybody's talking at me. I don't hear a word they're saying. Only the echoes of my mind. That's me. People are talking to me. I'm just looking somewhere. I'm looking. I ain't even paying attention to them. I'm not even paying attention. Come on, Jesus. So, in this 28th chapter, Isaiah is trying to prepare God's people for the stretch, for the long run. What's it going to take to not just start strong, but finish strong? To take the life that has been given to you and live it in such a way, and legacy is the new buzzword now, not just a legacy, but really intricately affecting people's lives. And that's kind of the way I want to come at this in the first service. I'm going to go a different direction in the second one. But he's talking about a loaf of bread. He's using a loaf of bread, cornbread, technically, as this illustration to explain to people why their life has gone like it's gone, why their life was prep. I was sitting in the hallway in Brooklyn. We visit the kids every week. And I walked in, 2 little girls, great little kids. Their sister was a prostitute. When she's doing business in the apartment, she puts her 2 sisters out in the hall. So I walk in, and they're just sitting on the floor in the hallway, eating food off of a cardboard box, just eating rice with their fingers. And the little one, Esmeralda, she's great. She goes, Pastor Bill, come and eat dinner with us. Sure, come on. So I just sat on the floor. We're eating the rice, and I saw 2 little antennas come out of the rice. No, they don't eat much. They're okay. As long as they're not the big ones. The little ones, you got nothing to worry about. So protein, exactly. So the roach just crawls across, and we're eating the rice, and she's just like this. She's just looking at me. She's looking at me. I said, Em, what's up? She goes, Pastor Bill, you're just like us. You have no idea. You have no idea. See, because when my mother left me on the corner, not even 10 miles from here, in 1960, one Christian man picked me up, sent me to Lakeland to a Sunday school camp. That's where I heard the story of Jesus for the first time. But there was nowhere to live, so I lived at the old building. The church is now Suncoast Cathedral, but it used to be First Assembly of God, down off of 16th Street in St. Pete. I lived in a maintenance closet there for almost 3 years. I had to believe that every night a different member of the church was going to bring me their leftovers. And I would come out, sit on the floor, eat my one meal a day. I never understood then why. That's the way my life went. I understand it now. So now I sit with two little girls with a prostitute sister eating rice on the floor. It was all prep. It was all prep. My whole life, from the time my mother left me till where I am now, it was all prep. So now I can go to Syria. I can go to Afghanistan. I can sit on a floor in a tenement and eat rice off a cardboard box and not think twice. That's as normal for me as some of you sitting in this room today. Why? Because I was prepped. It takes a long time, guys, to understand why things happen to us in our lives that happen. I get that. You don't understand it when you're young. We got a whole bunch of young people over here. Now, where'd y'all come from? Are you just part of this church? Or are you just observers? Or are you guys part of the program here? You're good? Part of the program? All right? Okay, good, good. Look like you're part of the program then, okay? Because I'm going to tell you something. Some of you guys are going to go through some stuff. You're going to have some hard times. You better understand, God's preparing some of you to do great things. It's all prep. Some of you will bury your parents. So you don't think about that today, did you? But someday you will think about it. That's just the reality of the preparation of life. And Isaiah is taking this cornbread. It has 3 ingredients. Read it later this afternoon. Instead of taking a nap this afternoon, like most of you do, you need to read this. Isaiah chapter 28, verses 23 through 28. Read it, look at it, chew on it. Let the Holy Ghost speak to you. Because Isaiah is trying to prep God's people. And he's using the ingredients in the bread to draw a perfect picture for me and you. He's talking about the fitches, the cumin, and the corn. The 3 parts of the bread. The ingredients that are put into the bread to make it what it is. Give me, Tyler, we got picture. Yeah, there's the fitches. These are what fitch seeds look like. They don't really have a husk or a shell like most seeds. So they're just prepared to be in the bread by just barely tapping them. And the Bible talks about a rod. And it was actually, it's in the Hebrew, it's a Hebrew word matah. The way they would thresh these fitch seeds, they would take, almost like this mic. It's a very blunt-ended matah rod. And they would put the fitches like that. And all they had to do was go, whoop, touch the fitch seed. And it would crumble, and then it was, my God. Then it was used. It was ready. It was prepared to be put into the bread, the bigger picture, the greater creation, the larger accomplishment. This is not the whole loaf of bread, but it is an important ingredient. It's an important part of the big picture. But to thresh it, to prepare it, all it took was a touch it. It's ready to go. Then Isaiah talks about the cumin. give me the cumin. Yeah, those are the cumin seeds. Now notice with the cumin seeds, they have a shell. They have a husk. Different than the fitch. Now, when the fitches were put in the bread, they were put in there for a reason. That's what gives the bread the fragrance. The fitch. Have you ever gone by a bakery? And if you're not hungry, you will be. All you got to do is drive by the bakery and you smell that fresh baked bread smell. The fragrance draws you in. The fragrance is a very vital role. It's not the whole food, but it's an important ingredient. And to prepare the fitches, all you got to do is just touch it. And it is prepared and ready to be put to use. But when you're talking about the cumin, see, it's got a little bit of a shell there. It's got a husk. Now, that's why Isaiah's talking about it's threshed out here and is with a pointed stick. It's actually in the Hebrew there. It's called a shebet. I try not to be boring with this stuff, but I think it'll help you if you get it. A shebet would be it would almost be like a stick that was cut like this to a point. So to thresh or prep or crack open the cumin, they had to take this shebet and just got to kind of, remember with the fitches, it's just a boop. See, I read Hebrew. That's in the Hebrew. You can't read that. The boop. That's Hebrew. It's just a boop. The boop. Fitch is good to go. But with the cumin, it's a shell. It's a husk. So the shebet is it's another good Hebrew word. Just, they got to stick it. They got to poke it. It's threshed. It's prepped differently because the cumin gives the bread the flavor. So we've got the fitch that gives it the fragrance. We've got the cumin that gives it the flavor. But then it says the corn. Give me the corn. There it is. The actual seeds. They're not threshed with either a matah or a shebet. They're put on the grinding wheel. They're ground. Why? Because, see, the corn is the actual foundation of the bread. It's the essence of the food. Now, what does all this mean to you? Pretty simple. You ever wonder why you've gone through things you've ever gone through in life? You ever wonder why? Why you go through things and other people don't? Have you ever wondered, like I did, why? Why my mother left me on the corner? Why my sister was a prostitute? Why? Because you can why yourself right out of the game, can't you? Because the older you get, and the more trouble you see, and the more fights you're in, and the more battles, and the more struggles, and you sit and you wonder, and you can either say, I'm just wore out, I'm tired, I'm done, I'm finished, and just go sit somewhere and just go, I'm done, I'm retiring. I get it, guys, I get it. I get it. But see, when you understand that the whole purpose of these three ingredients that comprise the bread, they're all major parts of the bread, but they were all threshed differently. Why? Because they all had different roles to play. So I would stand here today and ask you, what's your part? Because let me tell you, if you just want to be the fragrance, hey, isn't it nice to be around people in church that when they walk in, they have that it's an aura. Yeah, I don't know how else. I don't know a lot of words to use here, but it's that, boy, they're just up, they're perky, they're friendly. You know, you didn't know I was the guest speaker today. She just came up to me like I was some homeless guy that just came in. No, I'm just messing with you. I'm just messing with you. But you, hi, and who are you? Oh, I'm just, yeah, see, because I look like a normal guy, except for the suit, right? Come on. Yeah, I get that. See, but she was very friendly, very up, very, hey, very perky. I don't know if she's like that all the time, but she was today. See, but then you see other Christians, and I see them coming, and I just, oh God. They're like the joy suckers. They just, you see them coming, and you think, come on, Jesus, I can't do this again. Not this Sunday. Why didn't they go to the Baptist church? But now they're here, and now you gotta, yeah. Now, if you have not met those kind of, like this church didn't have, every time I'm here, you guys are always very kind. And I'm not saying that just because I'm here. Usually, if I don't have anything nice to say, I just don't say anything. I just preach and go home, and I'm done. So, but for you guys, you're always very, very gracious. You're always very kind to me. And that goes a long way, because I don't live with nice people, and you know that. The parts of the world where I go, place where I live, it's not a nice place. So when you come here, it's like, So I look at all of you guys as kind of the fragrance. That's what you can call this, the fragrance church. It's got a nice ring to it, doesn't it? I smell it already. It's the fragrance. See, for the fishes that give it the fragrance, it's just and it's prepared. But then, if you're going to be the flavor, that part that's, I see them putting up the tents out there, making things happen, working behind the counter, over there in Kid City, doing everything that you guys do. You be a part. That's that part, that role that you play. That's great. And we need those people as well. But you're going to be threshed differently than the fragrance. It's going to be and you're going to go through some things. Why? Because it's all prep. It's all prep. See, so don't ever wonder why you're going through. You ought to be thrilled. You ought to be thrilled when the things come to you. Because you don't get strength for a battle. You get strength from the battle. What at this point in my life would make me quit? I mean, like what? Because I've already been through everything twice. So it's, I've dealt with the joy suckers all my life. I've dealt with all kinds of people, shot twice, 3 plane crashes, okay? Thrown off of a building. The only thing that hasn't happened to me is I have not been shipwrecked. But I am going on a tanker next year. So if any of you would like to go with me on the tanker, which now at this point, you ain't going. Because if I'm on that thing, it's going to be a Titanic thing. That baby's going down. But I've been through all this stuff. So it's like, duh, what's the big deal? But then, if you decide to step in to a leadership position. See, and I can say this because I've been in that spot for 50 years. So I can speak to this, I think, with some authority, is to thresh the corn. It's on a grinding wheel. It's not, boop, it's not, it's the grinding up. It grinds it. Yeah. Why? Because when you decide to be the foundation, you're going to be threshed differently. You're going to go through things at a different level. You're going to deal with situations differently. And you say, well, how do I know what I'm supposed to be? That's always the great question, right? How do I know? You just say, Lord, here I am. Here I am. You present yourself. See, and that's really where the word present comes from, the word presence. You just present yourself. It comes from that root word. So you say, Lord, I'm not going to try to figure out what I need to be, what I want to be. I'm just presenting myself to you to say, if you want me to be the fragrance, I'm good with that. Thresh me, prep me as you need to. I'm ready. If you want me to be the flavor, if you want me to be the cumin, I'm ready for that. But it's going to be it's going to have to crack. See, in order for whatever is in you to come out, that shell has to be cracked. That's why no one really dies alone. That's a whole different message. And once that's in you and it's cracked open, so then what is in you can then come out and be used for the very purpose that it was created for in the first place. But unless it's cracked open, unless that threshing, my God, unless that thing is threshed, it will just sit there and deteriorate in this old shell and husk and never accomplish what it is that, you better listen to me, young people. Better get this in Jesus' name. When the tough times come, when the difficult times come, when the disappointment comes, and you why? See, that's why now at this point, because there's really only 3 stages of life: the learning, the earning, and the returning stages of life. That's it, guys. It's 3 stages. I hate to try to oversimplify life, but that's what you got. When you're young, you're learning. Then you get that earning. You're earning respect. You're earning credibility. And then at the end, I'm at the end of mine now. So I'm at now the returning stage. I have friends like him. I would have had a friend like him a long time ago, but I do now. I do now. And I appreciate it now, because when you're young, you're not smart enough to appreciate anything. But you get older and you appreciate it. I have friends like this. I have people now that see, after 50 years of ministry, they see changed lives. They've seen what's happened from Metro. They've seen how the influence of that thing has gone around the world. But it wasn't like that 40 years ago. Yeah. But now I'm at that unique stage in my life. It's all been prep. So now it's about Yemen. It's about Afghanistan. It's about the Gaza Strip. Wouldn't have been like that 30, 40 years ago, but it is now. Why? Because I've gone through that prep. I've sat on the floor when I was little and ate the food off the floor. That's why she said, "You're just like us, Pastor Bill." Yeah, I sure am. Give me a picture, Ty. Got another one there? I think get the kid. Yeah, the kid. This was in Kenya. I'll end with this because I think this pretty well sums it up. We were in this village outside of Nakuru. Nakuru in Kenya is our base. We've got an opportunity to start another Sunday school here. So we were out there doing some recon work, and I saw a couple of these guys sitting kids in circles. And I thought, okay, what is this? And then I saw this kid chewing on this needle. And I thought, okay, something's not adding up here. Something's up. So I got one of my guys that was with me. I said, we need to find out what's going on here. And who are these guys talking to the kids? Well, then I found out this village is run by drug dealers. They run it. They are the government. So what they do, they take meth and liquid coke, and they'll put it in these big hypodermic needles, and they sit the kids in circles, and they say, okay, kids, open your mouth. We're going to give you Coca-Cola. And so the kids are just, they don't know. So these dealers are coming in, shooting this stuff. And if you know anything about drugs, you see this kid's eyes, it's already hitting him. And so I'm looking at this, and I'm thinking, okay, really? And some of you will understand this, some of you won't. But then you feel it all over again. Don't ever wonder why I'm like I am. Don't wonder, folks. I've done this too long. And you feel the anger all over again. Like when the lady pulled her son's hand out of the bag. And so you feel it all over again. And I just stood up, and one of the dealers comes over to me. He goes, "Oh, you're the preacher." I said, "Yeah, that's right." And I think he was expecting some sissy American preacher. He didn't know me, but he was about to be introduced. I said, "Yeah, that's right." He goes, "Well, let me tell you something, preacher." He said, "Jesus is never going to be in this village. Drugs is the God of this village." And I said, "All right." I said, "Tell you what, Bubba." He said, "You got about 2 weeks here, and you're going to be gone." See, he didn't know we were starting Metro Sunday School in this village. And he didn't know it, but I knew in 2 weeks, we were ready to go. He goes, what do you mean? I said, you're going to find out 2 weeks. Nobody's even going to know you were ever here. And he goes, what? And usually I'm a little bit quicker with words, but he said, well, you don't know that. I said, yeah, I do. He said, no, you don't. And then I just went, that's exactly it. And I really wanted to say more, but I knew it was just better to just go, and then I just walked away because I knew it wasn't going to go well. It was going south really quick. And 2 weeks later, we started. Ty, you get another one? The first day. That's Sunday school, first day. Come on, give God a praise. Take a good look, folks. Take a good look. Now, how does this happen? This wouldn't have happened when I was 20 years old. But I'm not 20 now. I've gone through a threshing process. I've gone through the grinding. It was all prep. Young guys, gals, it's all prep. You're in the preparation now. You're in the prep. And now, for some of us older folks, and you think, my time is past. Nope. Because everything that's happened to you up to this point in your life, folks, it's all been preparation. It's all prep. For some of you that are older, we need you. We need you. I need you. I need you praying for me. I need you backing me up. For those of you that are starting to think, man, I'm getting tired. Yeah, I understand that. You get 70, and I have a little ritual. I did it this morning at the hotel. I woke up, when I opened my eyes, yep, I'm awake. That means I'm alive. It means I get to do it one more time. See? I didn't do that when I was 20, but I'm doing it at 70 because now you got to check to see, am I really still up? Am I really still alive? Because if I am, let's go. Let's get it on. We're going to get this thing going. It's another day. This is a day that the Lord has made, and I'm going to rejoice. Oh, you better give him praise. You better get it. You better get it. It's not time to feel sorry for yourself. It's not time to think it's over. It's all been prepped, folks. It's all been prepped. So, the fitches, the cumin, and the corn. Pretty innocuous when you just read it to read it. But when you understand, Isaiah is prepping God's people. He's trying to prepare them. He's trying to get them ready because the fight's not over yet. The battle's not over yet. There was an old song we used to sing. We don't sing it anymore because we don't sing the old songs. And when the battle's over, we shall wear a crown. We shall wear a crown in the New Jerusalem. But the battle's not over yet, folks. So, Father, we love you. We thank you. Lord, we're aware that it's all about being prepared, being ready. And Lord, there's times when we think, I can't do this anymore. I'm too tired. I'm too wore out. I'm just going to sit back and say, I did my time. Yeah, I understand that. I understand that. It's not over yet. And Lord, you're preparing us. So for the younger folks here today, let them know, Lord, they're going to have to go through some threshing. They're going to have to go through some tough times. And let it not be a discouraging time for them. Let it be a preparation time. Because one day, they may be standing in a foreign country, on a field, somewhere, alone, by themselves, somewhere. And they better be ready. It's because of your blood that you shed that allows us to walk through this journey and be prepared to stand wherever it is that we need to stand to make a difference. Oh, the blood of Jesus washes me. Oh, the blood of Jesus shed for me. What a sacrifice that saved my life. Yes, the blood, it is my victory.